So welcome back, everybody. We are ready for the second panel. Thank you again to our first group of presenters for such an insightful discussion on the policy and challenges facing community in Asia context. We now turn our focus toward deep dive case studies from the field in Indonesia, India, and Japan. Yes, we are delighted to welcome our first speaker, Nining Liswati, a researcher from the C4ICRAF Indonesia platform. Nining presentation will focus on integrating local knowledge and sacred forests for effective forest conservation, lesson from Maluku Island. She will explore how traditional practices such as Sazi Dusun provide a crucial blueprint for sustainable forest management and the policy challenges currently threatening their sustainability. So, Madam Liswati, is your turn. Thank you.
Thank you, Alessandra. Good afternoon, all. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm happy to share our study in this forum. So, yes, my name is Nining Liswati from C4ICRAF based in Bogor, Indonesia. And this study is actually based on the collaboration between C4ICRAF and the University of Patimura in Maluku. And there are two other colleagues that I would like to acknowledge. Martina Choa from Unpati, she's also here with us, and also Tom Silaya. Yeah. So this is the topic of my presentation today about integrating local knowledge and sacred sites for effective forest conservation based on lesson learned in Maluku. So a little bit about the background that Indonesia is home to some of the world's most biodiverse and valuable forests, ranking as a global biodiversity spot with the second highest biodiversity value globally and also highest value for endemism, and home to indigenous communities with traditional practices and knowledge. But Indonesia is also face significant challenge in conserving this ecosystem. So this include the deforestation and land degradation due to logging, agriculture expansion, and other human activity. And this resulting in loss of the forest, loss of biodiversity, and the negative impact on local community. Yeah. But Indonesia is also home to many indigenous community that have long protected and managed forests with traditional knowledge. And the sacred sites is also play a crucial role in cultural and spiritual practices, and often protecting this area from logging and exploitation. So for the Maluku context, this region is characterized by significant biological diversity, including endemic animal species. And Maluku is very strong with the customary practices, with rich tradition and knowledge. But the forest is still under threat, especially from the land encroachment, illegal wildlife hunting and trading, and also rapid land conversion. And the other important issue in Maluku is the tenurial issue, where the local communities often claiming the ownership of nearly all lands and coastal area. So also the conflict between the local people with the concession holder on state-owned land, and also the conflict between the villagers. So my presentation today is to show you to explore the local knowledge and sacred site in order to enhance forest conservation in Maluku. So about the traditional knowledge in Maluku. So by definition, traditional knowledge is time-honored practices that guided by local wisdom and rules passed down through generation to manage natural resource sustainably. And there are some key benefits of this traditional knowledge that include biodiversity conservation, sustainable livelihoods, forest management, and cultural importance. And in practice, the traditional knowledge also serve as a tool to connect people with God, also to foster relationship between people and to regulate humans' relationship with the natural environment. And based on the study about the local knowledge in Maluku, there are three forms and functions that include social institution, ritual practices, and environmental management. Yeah. So in Maluku, for the traditional knowledge, there are traditional conservation practices that include sasi, which restrict harvesting, and dusung. This is an integrated forest garden. Another traditional knowledge refers to specific protection and ownership, including sale, croix, and matako. I will explain to you later about this. So about the sasi, sasi is traditional system of natural resource management that is implemented based on requests from the community members to conserve natural resources and utilize them responsibly. And the main characteristic of SASI, so this is as a cycle of control resources, access for temporary prohibition, or we call it tutup SASI, and control opening, or we call it buka SASI. SASI is also used to regulate resource use based on customary law and community agreement. And there are some benefit of SASI that include fixed use right for individuals, prevention of dispute over land, conservation and preservation of the environment, obligation to replant crops, and reduction of theft. And there are many types of SASI that implemented in Maluku. And also there are customary SASI and church SASI that are based on traditional and religious institutions. So as you see also in the slide, there are some pictures showing how SASI implemented in Maluku. Yeah. So now about Dusung. Dusung is a traditional land system combining agriculture, forestry, and animal husbandry in a single area. And this is also managed by the local community. And the characteristic of Dusung is consists of diverse plant species, including trees, crops, and fruits, and also habitat for various wildlife, and also provide multiple products, including food, income, and ecosystem services. And this is how the local community developed the Dusung. So it consists of the agriculture crops like cassava, pineapples, and other trees, and also the trees like clove, nutmeg, or palm, and also the fruit. So there are some important fruits in Maluku like durian, avocado, and coconut. And this is the traditional knowledge on the specific protection and ownership. So there are three important things. So the first is matako. You see the left side, this picture. So this is a traditional method of protecting specific plants, especially food tree, for theft and damage, and also to ensure a good yield and preserving Maluku cultural heritage. And then at the second picture, you will see salele. This is traditional method of protecting fruit trees in community forest by tying leaf around them. And then the third picture is showing the croix. So croix is a traditional conservation sign marking restriction or prohibition on harvesting natural resources. So they made like wood to make it cross like you see in the picture. Yeah. And then for the sacred site in Maluku, this is very important, especially to promote ecological conservation and biodiversity, and also foster the community resilience and cultural identity, and also encourage sustainable practices and environmental stewardship. And the sacred site in Maluku is actually protected and managed by the regional government. So there are also many benefits of the sacred site in Maluku, including the conservation, natural resources, protecting biodiversity, and also maintaining the ecosystem services. But there is also still a challenge in the sacred site that include logging concession and land right issue. And as you see here, the picture, the map, this is showing the Buano Island. So this is one of the island in Maluku, and there are lots of the sacred site in this island. And this all sacred site is protected by the local community and also the local government. Yeah. And this is to show the example of the sacred tombs in Maluku. So the first picture is the sacred pilgrimage site on Sali Kecil Island that have high historical and religious value. So this is also making a potential destination for religious tourism and marine ecotourism. And then the second picture is showing the tomb of the Reaper Sultan in Ternate. So this is a site of great historical and spiritual significance. And this is a mystical site and constantly submerged in water. Is steeped in legend and attracts pilgrims and historians seeking to understand its rich cultural heritage. And then at the last picture here, this is the Jari Kulaba, so a sacred site on Mount Gamalama slope, and is the final resting place of Sefer Sufi and a cherished pilgrimage site. Yeah. So this is to show an example of the historic place of worship. So in the first picture, you see the Eastern Indonesian oldest mosque. So this is a cultural heritage site as Islamic center, and also featuring the unique natural material architecture of and also the handwriting Quran in 1550 years ago. And then for the second picture, this is to show the Maluku's old church and now preserved by the Cultural Heritage Preservation Agency and remain functional places of worship and historical site. So this is the example of the customary nature reserve and sacred forest. So in the up picture, you will see the Naulu people sacred forest. So this is crucial for their spiritual and material of life, but face threat from the logging concession since 2012. And then on the second picture below this is the example of the Hutumori customary forest. So this is one example of the successful customer community-led conservation model. And then in the third picture here, this is the Hitu forest that considered sacred, as it is historically the entry point of the Islam in Maluku. Now I want to show you the sacred cave. So the first picture here, so the cave is inhabited by spirits, and its mystical story tells of the hunter who was cursed to turn into stone, along with his two dogs for cursing after drinking bitter water there. Yeah, and then the picture below this. So this is believed to be a sacred site watched over by mystical guardians, and this cave remained remarkable, untouched, due to the reference it inspired. Yeah. And this is another sacred site. It's with what we call it sacred artifacts in Maluku. So there are wells and jars in Negeri Soya. So this is Negeri is the same with village that protect water resources. So you see a picture here, and then another picture here show what they call cuci negeri. So means this is a tradition for cleaning waters, resources, and forests. And this is also to ensure that they still have water available. And this tradition ceremony is led by the king. So there are already some effort and initiative in Maluku for the conservation. So this is include some of the Maluku regulation that support the conservation and also including the traditional knowledge and sacred site. Although this is not a formal regulation, but for informal regulation, all the customary people, they are respected to the sacred site and the traditional knowledge. And also a customary law practices, which is recognized as an effective way to manage natural resources and conserve biodiversity. And there are also community-led conservation initiative that has been successful in preserving forests and other ecosystem. And some of the villages in Maluku, they already developed village regulation to strengthening the traditional institution, for example, the ecotourism area, and also for the conservation effort. And there is also effort from the NGO and the government agency to empower the local community for managing the natural resources and sacred site through the capacity building and program. And this is to share some of the key national regulation that relate to the conservation and traditional knowledge. So, for example, the law number 5 in 1990 is acknowledge the role of the local community in conservation effort. And the law number 23 in 1997, this law emphasizes the importance of community participation in environmental management and conservation. And another law, number 11, 2019, emphasizes the recognition, respect, development, and preservation of the traditional knowledge, local wisdom, and natural resources. And also, there are government regulation on forest protection in 2004. And the last is the Ministry of Environment and Forestry Regulation about recognizing and protecting local wisdom. And we also try to find the relevant local legislation that relate to the conservation, and we find there are some central Maluku regulation about the guideline for preparing village and village governance, and also about the environmental protection and management. So this is very important for the local community to manage their traditional practices, although that, as I mentioned before, the traditional practices and the sacrifice is not formally regulated by the local government. Yeah. So this is to show some of the challenge in maintaining the local practices. So this is include the lack of the formal legal recognition, that usually unwritten norms and no formal protection, and also challenge in land and resource conflict, related to the land grabbing and exploitation, and also limited recognition and protection. Like, for example, the procedure for the recognition is very complex in terms of bureaucracy and also unclear guideline. And there is also another challenge related to the impact of the globalization, modernization, and social change, like the erosion of the traditional custom, languages, and community bonds. Yeah. And this is my last slide about the conclusion and recommendation. So based on what we already learned, that integrating traditional knowledge and sacred site is important for the success conservation, and also recognizing cultural and spiritual values also useful to promote the sustainable forest management and biodiversity conservation. And another thing that we think that the government support is needed, especially to empower the local communities in conservation effort. So, for example, involving the community-led conservation, cultural sensitivity, and collaborative management to promote sustainable forest management. And this is some of the recommendation based on what we already learned in the case of Maluku. We recommend that the local government or other stakeholder can continue to empower local communities to lead the conservation effort, and also to incorporate the cultural values into conservation initiative, and to foster the collaboration in promoting the sustainable forest management and biodiversity conservation. And the important thing is also to documenting the traditional knowledge, which somehow this is not so far well documented, not only in Maluku, but also in other islands. So that's all for my presentation, Alessandra. So
Thank
over
you,
to you.
Nining,
Thank you.
for this amazing overview of Maluku. We come back for comments at the end of the panel, and now